Hey, we're back here with Sportstrom. That's right, Sportstrom Speedway sitting here getting ready to do another podcast for this month of May, which we're already mid-May, but because of Derby, we were closed, and then we ran last week. But we do have the Triple Crown Smokies Discount Tobacco race coming up, 325 laps, and I have previous champion of Sportsmen, which I guess back in the day were called Street Stocks.
Yep.
What years did you run back then?
Well, I run in the early 90s. Started in 90 and all through about 96, 97. Then I kind of hit and missed after that.
Yeah, now we're talking to Joe Bierman here, by the way. I did not say his name, but yeah, Joe was a racer back when, I guess when I got out of college the first time, won some championships. Did you win two, three? Three championships throughout the year. Now he's returned back to the Sportstrom, not only as a racer. Joe, really in the last 15 years, his family, which owns ICA Dumpsters, Merle Bierman Excavating, what else? A trucking company. They do a lot around the Clarksville, New Albany, Floyd County area, and in the Kentuckiana area, and they are a great sponsor for us. They helped us sponsor the Sportsmen's now, like I said, probably 15 years that Joe's been involved, and he kind of got out of racing a little bit. His daughter's really been in it. We're going to let him talk a little bit about Jamie, who, congratulations to Jamie, who just had a baby boy.
Yep,
Maverick.
Did. Yep, Maverick. Hopefully another racer.
There you go. Hopefully another line of racing.
Right. Yep.
So yeah, tell us a little bit about when you got out, Jamie getting in, and we'll talk a little bit about that.
Well, when I got out racing, I got rid of everything that race cars and engines, and thought I was done. And then, when Jamie come along, it was a whole new deal. When she, turned 11, 12, she wanted to race go-karts, and I wasn't real fond of her running go-karts because there's no cage. And so we held off on that. But when the front-wheel drives come out, we built her one of them. And then, then it just kind of took off from there. And she's loves the race and got a big heart for it.
Yeah, how many championships did she win in the front wheel drives?
I think she's won 9 total between the front wheel drives, the Dromer, and then the Ford.
Yeah.
So
the Crown Vics, the affordable Ford.
So she says, she's ready to come back here as soon as we get her healed up. She was over at shop last night and hung out with us a little bit. But she's having a hard time staying at home, I believe.
Yeah, I know. Just talking to her, before the baby was coming, which, by the way, it was pretty close to my birthday. By the way,
right.
That's why I was hoping
close.
he'd be born on the same day. But April 30th, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So April 30th, I was May 3rd. But
yeah.
So that's why I was always talking to Jamie, which she's so nice. We talk all the time anyway. But, plus, they do our dumpsters. They do roll-off dumpsters. That's who we use is ICA Dumpsters. So anybody needs roll-off dumpsters, that's their business. They're all over. I know I see them all over. I live in Louisville. I see them everywhere. They're, so, reach out to them there. Again, corporate sponsors mean a lot to us at the Sportstrom. And I know it does to the racers as well. Anybody that you see racing, you want to definitely help them out if you can. If you enjoy racing, that's what keeps cars coming to the racetrack. Sponsors like Joe, what keeps us keeping a division alive. I know our sportsmen in the last 3 years have kind of went down. We're at that really, I want to say 9 to 12. I will say this year though, we have signed up 14. We ran the first race. We had 9, I think, the very first race, and y'all have only ran once,
just
correct?
Once. Yeah, we got rained out the other time.
Yeah, we've had rain, and then I've had to postpone some things because of Ford trucks. I'm not gonna lie, they got on our property, and it overstretched my weekends there when they signed in. So that was something that we had to kick back, which it ended up raining one of those weekends, so we would have lost that anyway. But again, trying to keep everything rolling at the Sportstrom. So this weekend we have the Triple 25s brought to you by Smokies Discount and Tobacco and Outlet. Again, there's 5 locations in Southern Indiana. Be sure to visit. I can't say enough about our sponsors. Like I said, TNT Screen Sprint sponsors our modified Figure 8, Sportstrom with our Ford Figure 8, Ford Powder Puff, Ford Future Stars. I don't know if I forgot one of them, but all the things we try to do with sponsors. We have new sponsor signs on the back. Just things for everybody to help, which will help the racers at the end because we have point funds, we do trophies. We went back to trophies again this month. I don't know if anybody's aware of the trophies. We were doing the big check. Some people like the check. Some people actually the last show we had a check up on the wall, or we had it here when Mark and Ben were here, which I know Mark enjoyed the check, so he can put that in his car hauler. And we want to appreciate them for being on the show the last time. So, again, what we're doing at the racetrack, Joe's family's helped us so much because they were in the asphalt business. We just redid some of our stuff and fixed up our property again this past weekend. We did some stuff with Jeff Libbs. I know you, Joe put me towards Jeff Libbs to do some things. So actually, I'm gonna have to get a hold of Jeff too to maybe do a night in the VIP. So Jeff, if you hear this, I'm gonna be calling you. So you got to try to tie everybody into the sport, and
Sure.
you know this as much as I do. I mean, I think you've gotten a few people from us, but you've also brought us a few people too. So
Yeah, it's look forward to this weekend. It's always the triple 25s is always a good race. So yeah.
Well, and it's a challenge for these guys because a lot of times they get to start one straight up, then they'll do one inverted by qualifying, and then we'll take the combo. And then when they get to the combo, you haven't been there for you were there for the outlaw race, so we have the big dice. So we might have to drop a dice out there and see how we line up that last one because the kids really enjoy that too. We have a couple of big dice, and actually I was watching. Joe and I were talking about it on the way here. We drove in today, and we were talking about the Midwest late models up at, I got a buddy that owns Madison Speedway, Greg McCarnes and them, and great job on your show there too, Greg, with the Midwest late models. And they had their big old die out there, but they had one of them things like, I don't know much about these games, but it was like a weird looking dice. So, but they had different numbers all over it. And, that looks to be the new way of starting some of our races. Instead of starting them straight up, it just makes it more interesting for the fans. I know the racer like yourself sometimes would rather just, if you're the fastest, you want to start up front.
Yeah, but it's not always the funnest race, if you're just out front. Everybody likes to win, but it's awful fun coming through the pack too. I know it's, Jamie, she don't like starting on the front. She likes starting on the tail, and Sportstrom with the way they line their cars up, it's always a good challenge to get on the tail of a pack of cars and to work your way through it, and makes it interesting for everybody.
Well, that's good. And that's why we run the triple 25s is it does exactly what Joe said. We're going to give them the first one straight up. You give them the second one inverted. And then, like I said, we'll do a combo of where they finish in the first and second. And then we'll probably drop out that dice to find out how we're going to start the third one. So you're going to get a mixture of all worlds for them. We also run modified figure eight, Ford figure eight, and Ford oval this Saturday, which is May 17th. We will be off Memorial Day weekend. So I don't know if y'all got big plans. We're not doing anything. We just take off because, we know a lot of people like to spend time with their family. And then we'll be back on June the 31st with the Rooster School Bus Figure Eight event, which is a big event for us. This is going to be our 25th year running school bus figure eights.
Wow.
It's been a long time really in the making of school bus figure eight racing. We took it on after Louisville Motor Speedway left, and we've been running one to two to three a year. So the first year we ran one, and then we've ran two, I know, every year since. And sometime in this year we're going to run three because we're running a giant one for Cancer Association, Kentuckiana Friends of V. We're going to start releasing all that information to see if we can't help Kentuckiana kids with cancer, and we'll get everything out on that coming up in the near future. So, again, I want to go ahead and head back to Joe for a minute. Do you know when Jamie might be coming back for the Fords?
Well, she would come back this weekend if the doctor would let her, because she's ready to get back in it. I'd say we got at least a month.
Another month?
At least.
Well, that's good. We got a week off here, end of May. So mid-June.
Yeah,
maybe mid-June.
Mid to late June, I'd say we're looking. She's got to get healed up. She ended up having a C-section.
Mid-season's in too, so there you go. She can come back in there, that area there.
Yeah.
So she'll have some work on her because there's 70 think there's been 70 cars. We've run an A, B,
Yep.
C feature. So she'll have to start at the back and work her way up. But,
Yep.
you know, if she
Yep.
can pull out that first win, then that's going to put her right back into A right away. Because
Yep.
we do an average point per night. I know people, you know, that's how we do our APPN.
Yep.
Again, if anybody's interested in that, they can go to My Race Pass. You got that on your phone?
I don't. No, Jamie's got it on there.
I'm
I
not
just
gonna
let her
pick on
take care
Joe.
of it.
He's holding out for
Yeah.
Joe and I
Yeah.
are like, so I'm going to
Yeah.
take a heat for Joe. Joe and I, not being the phone guys, we are not, by the way.
Right.
He has his daughter. I have my nephew.
Right.
So I can at least get in and look at the amount of cars and the lineup, and past that, I don't really know a lot more either. So,
Right.
so
Yep.
Joe and I are in the same boat with that.
Yep.
But My Race Pass is very interesting. It does show a lot of the things. You can check out lap times of your competitors, and you can check out, you know, how fast races ran in the past and everything. It's really cool, and it's something for the fans to get into. It's myracepass.com. And not only are we there, I mean, all the racetracks around us have done it since I don't even know, probably the last 3 years we've started doing it. And you can find racetracks all over the country.
Yeah, it's a good deal. You know, it's good for the fans, but it's also good for the drivers because they can look and see where everybody's at and how your car stacks up, and you know, it's a good deal. I like it.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that, you know, we've tried to do at the racetrack to make things a little bit nicer for the racers, the fan, and for us now, that and the new light receivers we have, all that's fed through a computer system. So it's really neat that all these guys have it, and we have new lights. We don't make anybody buy them. We did give them all to our future stars. Our future stars is a class of the Crown Vics from 11 to 15. That's a class that we have as well. And these kids are, you know, just starting out and racing for the first time. And, you know, we still offer go-kart racing too on some Fridays, and which is the Kentuckiana Kart Racing Association. So, you know, come check us out. We got plenty of racing going on at the Sports Dome for 2025. I'm really about ready to round up here, I guess. And, you know, Joe, you want to thank anybody else other than, you know?
You know, I just want to thank everybody for coming out to the races. You know, I know a lot of the racetracks around are struggling. Seems like, you know, Sportsdrome, we're still getting a good car count. You know, could use some more in the sportsmen. I like to see some more guys get some sportsmans, and you know, I know everybody wants to run the Fords, but you know, the sportsmans are awful fun. The tar deal you got going with them is to me is it's a real good deal. You don't break the bank on your tires, which everybody knows that the tires are, you know, in the past have been a rough deal as far as hard on the pocketbook. Putting them in the barn's a good deal. You know, the tires last a long time. It's a good class. We got a bunch of good guys there, good to race with. I'd love to see some more cars this year. So that's probably the biggest thing I'd like to see. And then I want to thank, of course, my brothers Tony and Jim. They, you know, they're with the business too, so they're kind of behind the scenes on things. They come to the racetrack, but I want to thank them for allowing me to go up and, you know, do what I need to do. You know, work at the racetrack. I know I'll skip out and do that instead of some jobs sometimes. So, but you know, I just want to thank all the fans and everybody for coming out every week, and all the new racers we got. The Fords has brought a bunch of good people in there, and I look forward to the future stars. I think that's a great class because gets the young people in doing things and off the streets. So it's
Yeah, it does do that. It gets them off the
deal.
streets.
Yeah. So you know, and like I've always told people, you know, that they ask me about the racing, about Jamie and this and that. You know, we've had a lot of good family time with all our family. You know, my wife usually goes, and you know, my sons would go, and Jesse, my other daughter, would go, and it's all been just a great bunch of years here with spending time with the family and different things. And I was going to talk about the bus races here. I had a guy. I've had more people ask me about the bus races. Just different people here and there. I do some work in Lexington, and I just had a guy the other day ask me about. He says, "Hey, what about them bus races up there at Sportstrom?" He said, I want to go up there and see them sometime." I'm like, "Well, all you gotta do is let us know. We'll get you in." So it's a guy I had worked with down there. But it's funny that people know, even down in Lexington, how big
Right.
the bus races and everything are. So, that's about all I got, I guess.
That's that, and I'll finish up right here. That's like you said with the bus races. I think last year, because we do more online sales, we had 7 different states represented at the Sportstrom when we did the bus race last year.
Yeah.
There was a total of 7 different states. So people are coming, I have one family that comes from Georgia. They call all the time. And then there's a couple from Florida. And then it's just amazing. It's something totally different that we do. And it's more the entertaining factor that we put on with it. And then, again, we're going to use the second one for a big charity event, which I'm going to talk to Joe about on the way home.
Right.
So he did do a bus race for us too for breast cancer. Last time we did one was 5 years ago. So again, I want to thank everybody, all the race fans, all of our sponsors, all of our racers. If it wasn't for you guys, we would not be here. And we enjoy doing what we're doing. We enjoy what we're doing, and it's been a family event for us as well. Just like with Joe and his family with racing. I'm the 3rd generation. My nephew's the 4th. So we hope Sportstrom keeps going for many, many years. And again, with that, I want to thank you and Sportstrom Speedway, where you don't need a seat because you're always on your feet at the Speedway.